Jack Klenk, Lineman, the Lineman, as he walks up with his juice, you know. Nutritionist, he's talking about how you guys really maximize your health, get yourself in the right shape from a nutrition standpoint. I wish I had somebody like him when I was in school, so, yeah.
What's up, boys? You guys want to stand out, shake it out a little bit? It's been sitting for like 50 minutes.
Yeah, sorry guys. Stand up.
You want to stand up for a second? Come on now, come on. I know your knees are sore. Shake it out now. All right, here we go. Going to be reviewing some nutrition, all that stuff. For offensive linemen, right? So a lot of times people are going to talk to you about nutrition, health. They didn't play O-line. They don't really know what it feels like to be over 300 pounds for many of you, to eat a lot of food, to deal with those demands. So that's what I'm going to review with you guys today. How to go about that, how to stay as healthy as possible, how to maybe gain weight, how to maybe lose weight, and then some key takeaways. Okay, let's dive in. So who am I? You know, like when I'm listening to somebody, I want to know why the fuck I'm listening to them. So, right, from New York, played O-line. Was undersized in high school. He's kind of tall, skinny kid. Junior year, 6'3", 225. Was blocking well. Was told I needed to gain weight to play D1, so I started studying nutrition. Got to 290 for my senior year of high school. Dirty bulked, as you might say. From there, walked down at University at Buffalo. Okay, it's in the MAC. Played 6 years there. Played all games in my final 3 years. Started my last 2 seasons. And then after football, I decided to lose some weight. Had a lot of injuries, a lot of health issues, so decided to lose some weight, and that's me relatively now. Okay, right, again, I feel like I can relate to you guys. I work with a lot of athletes. I'm not just saying this stuff and not knowing how it feels to be on the field, not knowing how it feels to play out at Penn State, Nebraska, all these schools, okay? A lot of times, right, for linemen, you're hearing what we say here, you need to gain weight, right? You're talking about recruiting, you're talking about NIL, you're not tall enough, right? Maybe I can't make it grow. You need to lose body fat, right? You need to be a little bit leaner, you need to be a little bit stronger, you need some more muscle, some more athleticism, right? And all of you guys are probably taking weight training really seriously, right? You're in the gym, I'm hoping, right? If you're a lineman, you need to move other men against their will. That's your fucking job. Okay? You're probably doing O-line training too. You got Bouge here, right? Wherever he is. We got Bouge here. He's teaching you all the skills that I wish I knew when I was playing. But what about nutrition, right? What about health? Okay. See, review some of the people I work with. Okay, I help people with weight loss, and then I help a lot of current clients who are MMA fighters, NFL players, CFL players, college football players, high school, help people lose weight. The cool thing is, okay, a lot of these people lose 40, 50 pounds, and they're eating a lot more food when they lost weight. So I'm going to talk today about some metabolism, the burning of fat, how you use energy, how you can eat more, and actually lose body fat, get stronger, improve hormones. Okay, and here's some of the athletes I work with, some tight ends, MMA fighters you can see. Okay, 3 P's of performance. I want to have some key takeaways for you guys. Okay, first one is proper meal frequency. This is a huge one. You know, a lot of people come to me and they're eating 2 to 3 meals a day. You know, for you guys, right, you're waking up early for school. Maybe you're having breakfast, maybe not. How many here have breakfast before school? Okay, not bad. How about lunch? Who's bringing lunch? Okay. Pre-lift snack? Okay, a few. Solid. When you guys eat some crappy food, is that typically after dinner? When does that happen? After practice. After dinner? Yeah. Cookies. Yeah. I used like cereal, put down a box in like 5 minutes. My buddy would time me. Right, I was a lineman, I'm not lying. I was selling 305. Fucking big. Okay, so how can we improve body composition? Right, we want to have more meals. This is kind of counterintuitive. Most people think, I'm gonna just, I'm gonna go have a massive pizza. I'm gonna have a massive whatever meal. You're eating 2 to 3 meals. Now the problem is, those meals, when you're having large, infrequent meals, you have a much higher risk of putting on body fat. Okay, and then when you go long periods of time without food, you have a high risk of stress hormones. Okay, and that's how we get cravings. And that's how overnight or before bed, you overeat. And then it's really hard to wake up. I can't tell you how many kids in high school, I've talked to their parents and they're like, well, Johnny just doesn't want to wake up in the morning. And then I look down in the I look downstairs, he had the Oreo wrappers, or 2 sleeves are gone, and we just bought it. So when you're having infrequent meals, okay, that hunger builds up. How many of you have tried fasting before to lose weight? Anybody here? You feel stronger? How do you feel? No? Worse? Worse energy? Anybody else? Weaker? For sure. So, right, the reason behind, right, I'd like to give a little bit of the explanation. Why do we want to have frequent meals, right? 6 to 7 meals. How I'd like to structure it, right? Some nice breakfast before school, hopefully maybe prepped before school, right? Maybe you're going to school, first period starts at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Have something for breakfast. If you're not really an early morning guy, right, I wasn't, have something ready. So the night before, have a little yogurt bowl made, right? Have some fruit in there, maybe some maple syrup, maybe some cinnamon, maybe some sea salt. Okay, probably some orange juice too. I'm a huge fan of orange juice, as you can see. From there, right, I think bringing a snack or lunch, depending on where your lunch period is huge, right? So having something early in the day. I like having meals, every 2 to 4 hours is a great period to have meals. Really, really important. Fruit's a great option. I'll go over some more food options, but digestion is also really important. This is something often forgotten about. Digestion is critical. If we feel bound up all the time, have you guys ever felt constipated before? Where you want to go to the bathroom, you kind of feel bloated, but you can't go to the bathroom? You feel good squatting? You feel good getting in your stance? Hell no. I remember I was bloated before Coastal Carolina. I had my knee braces on, I had my hands and thumbs taped, double taped, trying to go to the bathroom. Not fun. Sweating, I got my fucking eye black all over me. Oh well. So, we don't want that for you guys, right? I remember that, don't want to feel that way. So when you're prepping for games, right? Before a game, should you be eating something you've never eaten before? Some random thing you've never eaten? No. We want to be eating similar foods. And ideally, right, you've kind of tested out before scrimmages throughout August what works for you before a game, what digests well, how can I get it out of my system? What do I need, right? So you kind of take some practice at that. Because if you have a massive meal before a game, you're not going to really feel good. You're going to feel kind of lethargic. So you want to know how to time those out. Really important. I count also in here a meal would be intra-training nutrition. This is something, I mean, you see Tyree here, okay? He's somebody who came to me in January. He was recovering from a torn labrum. He was playing for the Commanders last year. And he was like, Jack, my digestion's a mess. My recovery's, I don't feel good. My knees are killing me. So I asked him, what he's eating, 2 to 3 meals a day, okay? Some junk food, maybe he was training fasted. Training in the morning, a little breakfast, PT, a little bit of lunch, maybe some nachos or some processed food that I'll cover, and then some dinner, right? Rather than that, 7 meals, intra-training drinks twice a day, because he's training twice a day. The intra-training drink, you might want to write this down, orange juice, diluted with water, okay? Depending on how hard you train, you're gonna want more orange juice for that day. You might be like, Jack, why would I want carbohydrates during training? Well, training is stress. And when we stress our liver, okay, when we start using carbohydrates, eventually our body runs out of those in the liver. So what the liver does, if it doesn't have anything extra, it starts pulling from your muscle and creating that as energy. Okay, that's a very inefficient process, releases ammonia, causes some other issues in your body, and it's gonna make fat loss much harder in the future. So drinking an intra-training drink with orange juice, 1 with water, and some salt, you can do like 1 to 2 grams. I like Morton's sea salt. Morton's really canning and pickling salt. It's the lowest heavy metal content salt. Some baking soda. That's gonna help reduce lactic acid. This is also really helpful for brain injury. So if you're after practice, a scrimmage, you did a pull at the end, spilled you. Right, I've had my bell rung. I'm sure you guys have maybe had that happen too, right? Brain health is really important. This is something I cover a lot with my fighters, football players. This is something I studied in college. Brain health is really important. So baking soda, CO2, you can even do bag breathing. I have a fighter, I'm going to his fight tonight in Atlantic City. I got some things ready for him. Bag breathing is a big thing. As you breathe into the bag and out of the bag, brown paper bag, increases your CO2, help your brain recover from injury, right? We don't want to be getting concussions. We want to be recovering from brain impact. Aside from that, orange juice, sea salt, baking soda, I like vanilla collagen in there too. Now it's kind of like an orange creamsicle. That's the intra-training drink, okay? I think that's, tastes good, help you recover. Tyree said it helped him a lot. Okay, let's continue. All right, processed foods, right? This is the second P. Proper meal frequency was first. Second is processed foods. We want to reduce those. Got some good notes going on here. Let's go. Any cursive? No? Me neither. All right, processed foods, right? These are the processed foods that I typically think of, but many of you probably heard of that now. You're on TikTok. I have a lot of my clients. I don't have TikTok. I'm getting old, I guess. But a lot of my high school guys, college guys are on TikTok. Jack, did you see this? Did you see this? This slop, blah, blah, blah. What a lot of guys don't realize, right, cookies, whatever, bagels, all this processed food, hot dogs, all these things, right? They have many different fats in them that are very inflammatory. So, right, some examples. One thing to write down would be PUFA, P-U-F-A. P-U-F-A. That stands for polyunsaturated fatty acid. Now that's something we want to definitely avoid. Some examples of that are those basically a lot of those seed oils you get talked about online, but it's also peanut butter. It can also be chicken fat, pork fat, depending on what the animal's fed. So it's all about quality for a lot of these foods. A lot of times we'll just ask me, are these eggs good? Are these? Well, if you want to get them from a quality source. So the quality of your food, just like Blake was talking about, supplements matter. Supplements, definitely quality matters, but food quality is extremely important. That's what becomes your body. And what that animal ate is now that animal's body. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so this is a bowel, this is an intestine. I'm somebody who, after football, I ate like crap for a long time. I can't keep on weight, right? Every Friday in college football, you guys are probably gonna weigh in. You're gonna have a weight range. I had to be 298 to 302 every Friday. The issue was, I was tracking my food. I was eating 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day. I just wasn't that big a lot of times. So I'd be 291, 292. Sometimes I have to gain up to 10 pounds. It's Thursday night, like, oh crap, we have to get all the processed food, all these polyunsaturated fats, which bind to your thyroid, which is a gland in your throat that regulates fat loss and energy. Really important. But understand, in college, you're going to be getting a weight goal. They're going to expect you to weigh a certain amount. And that's part of your job, is going to be fueling yourself to be on the field. Right? Again, you're going against players, and your job is to move them against their will. Right? I'm sure Bush talks about this. You move a man against his will. So if you're not fueled properly, if you feel lethargic, tired, and your digestion is terrible, like what mine was, I had Crohn's. That's why I focused a lot on digestion for clients. Either way, ultra-processed food, you're seeing this graphic, digital overexposure, we'll talk about that, environmental chemicals, over-medication, a lot of different issues in the health care industry. It's an industry of profit, and they need you sick. Third, P, okay, plan and accountability. Now, I'm somebody, when I played football, I made my own plan. I was a walk-on, where I was fourth string. I felt, frankly, disrespected, to not really get many looks, and I knew that I had to use every single thing I could figure out how to improve upon to get on that field. And nutrition was a massive aspect of that. I had to drop my body fat percentage. I got there at 285. I was a freshman in 2016. I finished at 305. Okay, when I was a freshman at 285, body fat percentage was 30%. Sixth year, I played 6 years. Had the COVID year, 24% body fat, heavier. That's because nutrition helped me a ton. That's why I was able to earn a scholarship. That's why I was able to start games. This is one of my people that I really admired, Brian Burlsworth. There's a movie called Greater. If you're a walk-on, or even if you're not, I think it's extremely inspiring. He ended up getting drafted, and there's a walk-on trophy named after him. But plan, right? When you have no plan, you kind of are going to feel tired, lethargic, you might feel slow, you might just think that's what it feels like to be heavy. If you're about to play college football and you expect to be tired, heavy, lethargic for the next 5-6 years, man, good luck, right? It's not gonna be working the best it can. So when you have a plan of what to eat, what to go and get from the store, how to cook it, what to cook it in, what supplements to take, when to take them, bedtime routine. There's a lot of different things that you can improve, right? How many of you look at your phone before bed? Okay. A lot of you guys wear blue light glasses? A couple? Okay. How many of you guys look at your phone when you wake up? Okay. Think about how much time, right? A big thing is people tell me, they're an athlete, oh, Jack, I don't have time. I don't have time to get the food. I don't have time to get my yogurt ready for the morning. Brooks Koepka, I don't have the time. But if you take some time off of your phone in the morning, in the evening, and if you think about what your real goals are, right? Why do you want to play Division I? Why are you asking these questions about NIL? Why do you want to earn this money? Do you want to help your family? Do you want to get an education where you can support your family? Do you want to learn something that your family's never learned? Right? Think about a deeper why behind what you were doing. And that will really drive you. And having a plan behind it, setting goals. I like setting weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly. All of that is very helpful. Have a long-term plan too. You know, you're going to school. What do you want to be doing? I remember I thought I was only going to play 5 years. I said, by year 5, I'm going to be a captain. I'm going to earn a scholarship. I'm going to be a starter. And when you put that on paper, when you look at that every single day, and then you have goals to get to the next goal. I got to get from 4th string to 3rd string. I got to get these strength numbers up. I've got to eat more meals, 5 to 6 clean meals. And when you compound that, which we talk about finance, you compound those days of quality nutrition, quality training, quality mindset, taking some time to read before you go to bed. I think I would write this down. Reading 10 pages a day, extremely beneficial before bed. Put your phone maybe in a different room, use a manual alarm clock, or put your phone in the corner of the room, put the airplane mode on, save your brain for some EMFs, and read for 10 pages. After that, journal, I think too, is really helpful. Journal about your goals, journal about where you are. It's really cool to look back. I have journals in 2014, talking about how I want to play college football. I can look back. I have journals from 2005, getting in fights with my little brothers. It's kind of funny. But, really important, journal, read. Mindset is super important. It's easy to just get to school. It's easy to get to college. You've been the starter your whole life, right? You've been the man. You get to school. Coach, I'm 3rd string, I don't get it. I'm 4th string. I'm not even traveling. And you're at a big time school. So then you're thinking about transferring. We got no film. You got no film. So having a plan, having goals, understanding how it takes time to get there is extremely important. Okay. All right, what I do when I help people, just what I talked about. I'm not holding anything back here. Meal frequency, timing, training windows, digestion, making sure all that's good. Improving food quality, right? The ingredients. Look at the ingredient list when you're buying food. When you're, just take some time doing that. I'm not asking you to eliminate everything. Everyone's got free will. But when you put something into your body, when you put something into your mind, be very aware of that. Look at the ingredients. And the interesting thing is when you look at where these ingredients come from, oh my gosh, what? It's this binder that makes my microbiome, my stomach dissolve. I might not want to have that, right? If these polyunsaturated fats, I might not want to have that. Artificial sweeteners, these different things that cause ADHD, might not want to have that. Improving food quality, can't say that enough. Local food, single ingredient foods. If you're getting orange juice, just say orange juice. If you're getting milk, potatoes, rice, things like that. And then personalized planning for yourself, That's what I do with people, but you can also just do it yourself, okay? I'll give you some foods right now. Proteins that I think are really good. Milk. Okay, calcium is extremely important for fat loss, for muscle, for brain health. I like 1 to 2% milk for a lot of you guys. If you're trying to really gain weight, whole milk's great. Okay, lean red meat. White fish. Shrimp. Eggs. Bone broth. It's a great one to mix in some rice too. Something called Monster Mash. Stan Efferding is a strength coach, talked about that a while ago. Very helpful for digestion. It's bone broth. Those are some few proteins, right? You know how I didn't say any protein powders. I think protein's very overblown is an important thing. It's needed, but carbohydrates are really the main thing you guys need. So what kind of carbohydrates should I be having, Jack? Fruit. Fruit is huge, okay? Fruit that digests well, that is ripe. So you don't want to be having some green bananas that look like this turf, okay? Some proper, some darker, sweeter bananas. And many tropical fruits are great too, okay? Honey, maple syrup, a lot of those things are fantastic. Have high carbs around your training window. And during training, you can pull fats down a little bit around that time period. And then fat sources, okay? We want saturated, typically. But we don't need a ton of them. A lot of it comes in the meat. Beef tallow is great. Grass-fed butter. Coconut oil, okay? Cheese is also great, Parmesan cheese. There's plenty of other things out there, right? Avocados, quality olive oil. I'm not huge on avocados, but they're good sometimes. Olive oil's gotta be quality. A lot of it gets cut by Italian mafia. Okay. Take them into the season, right? Meal frequency. Figure out how if you're having just 2 meals a day, bump that to 3, okay? Maybe you start your spring to breakfast. If you're at 3, but you're not having a snack from your lunch at 11 a.m. and you're training and you're squatting 5 plates at 4 p.m., consider having a snack beforehand. If you're at 4 meals, man, now you can consider adding an intra drink. If you're there, a nice night snack that's gonna prevent you from overeating a pint of Ben & Jerry's and feeling like crap when you wake up. And then having to tell your mom, hey, can you call me in for a second period? Obviously processed foods, we just went over that. Plan and accountability, right? Have somebody hold you accountable. I think that's really important. We used to have accountability partners when I was in Buffalo. That was really helpful. You have somebody who has got a very driven person. Maybe some of you guys are teammates. You have goals, maybe once a week. Nothing crazy, but hey, 5 minutes. Hey, you've been doing what you said you're gonna do? Okay, like I do that with my training partner still now. You've been doing your cardio, man. You've been doing your core. You've been eating your meals, just some basic stuff. Somebody who holds you accountable. That make sense? Aside from that, what questions we got about nutrition, supplementation, digestion, sleep, any of it? Go ahead. What do you weigh? I'd say what's your goal? Are you gaining, losing, maintaining? I'd say probably, are you tracking any food right now? My apologies. How much protein should he be eating a day? He weighs 280. And you're tracking your food, what'd you say about it?
Yeah, I track a little bit, I try to keep myself accountable, I guess.
How much protein are you eating right now?
Probably around 200 grams, that's it.
Yeah, I'd probably bump that maybe a little bit. Usually at the minimum, you can write this down too, you'd want 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So for you, I'd probably say 225 would be a nice kind of solid sweet spot. I think that's doable. Slowly bump some things up, maybe a little bit more yogurt, a little bit more milk, things that digest easy. The cool thing about when you have a lot of carbohydrates, you're probably some of you guys are like, I thought I need 1 gram per pound. I've done up to 2 grams per pound. So I've experimented it. Carbohydrates are protein sparing. So when you have a lot of carbohydrates, I typically like a 2-to-1 ratio. I can write that down too. Your candy you've been eating, if you're having high carb, low fat candy, solid protein, you can survive DK Metcalf. But we want 2-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein. That's very helpful to do. Now you might think, Jack, well that's a lot of carbs. Maybe I'm having 250 grams of protein, 500 grams of carbs. This is a training day, okay? The days where we're lifting hard, we want more carbohydrates, but fats can actually be a little bit lower. A little bit lower. I usually like, for big guys who I'm working with, on training days, I got guys who are 315, 320, still between 75, 95 grams, sometimes even lower. Can pull fats down a little bit, perform much better. Good question. Does that make sense? Sweet.
Especially as linemen, I think we have a lot more space to be flexible with what we eat. I won't say that, especially during my winter training, I'll be consistent for 2 weeks and then maybe be a weekend where a pint of Ben & Jerry's and stuff like that. I guess how detrimental really is that, or is that something we should avoid, or hey, stuff happens.
Great question. a few things about that, right? One thing about food is we want to create balance. We don't want to be so obsessed that we're creating a food disorder where we're so stressed about if we have something wrong that we're tweaking out. And some people eat so much then they throw up. We don't want to be getting all nervous like that. But a good option instead of Ben & Jerry's is Haagen-Dazs. There's 4 flavors of Haagen-Dazs. If you guys like ice cream, I'd write these 4 flavors down. I have many of my clients have ice cream every single night, and they lose weight. Okay, I'll go back and show you one of the guys. Every single night. Haagen-Dazs, you're gonna want to eat chocolate, vanilla, coffee, and strawberry. Right, Booge, right? Am I right? Yeah. Negative, unfortunately. Why we're not gonna want to have some of those other ice creams like the Ben & Jerry's and other ones is the polyunsaturated fats. If you look, you're gonna probably see sunflower oil. You're gonna probably see soy lecithin. You're probably gonna see canola oil. You're gonna see whatever, peanut butter, all these different things that are going to inhibit fat loss. And they're gonna just cause digestive wrecks. When you do that, does your digestion, do you feel like kind of like shit next day? When you wake up, you know what I mean? Like, it's that. So Haagen-Dazs, great option, or Greek yogurt, maybe a little dark chocolate. If you're into Reese cups, dark chocolate, medjool dates, good combo too. Yep.
I know like people eat bread a lot with like sandwiches or breakfast. Like how bad would you say bread is? And like I know folic acid is like something that's considered bad for you. And like how would you manage that and eating healthier in terms of that?
Yeah, good question about bread. Yeah, so the thing about bread is bread has been manipulated, like most foods, the past 100 years. There's many breads out there that are actually good options. So quality sourdough, organic, it's flour, yeast, salt, starter. That's solid. You get a simple sourdough. Many of those have all these different additives though. Okay, and we don't want too many additives, like you said, the folic acid, many different things added in bread. There's these gums, and many times they don't even have to list these gums in breads, okay? Many of these food industries have kind of manipulated / collaborated with the USDA, FDA, all these other ones, and they don't even have to add in most of these things. They can just toss in if it's less than 1% of this poison. And then there's glyphosate in most of the bread too. So most of these breads are genetically modified. You're gonna see GMO a lot. GMO stands for genetically modified. Okay, and the importance of that, why would it be genetically modified, Jack? I mean, it seems like it's got good genetics. It grows, right? Well, they spray it wholesale with Roundup, glyphosate. The same stuff that if you sprayed it, you got a cancer risk. Spread on your food. But they kill all the weeds, and then this is genetically modified so it can survive from that pesticide, herbicide, many different things. Does that make sense? A lot of that grain, a lot of that stuff is sprayed with that, so then you're getting it in your food. Same with oats. You want to find oats that have no glyphosate. Yep.
What do you classify as a meal?
Anytime you eat substantial food, probably. I eat probably like 8 meals a day, but their meals are, they're not too big. I mean, say I'm in, whatever, I weigh like 232, something like that. I eat 4,000 calories. I'm having 8 meals of 500. I keep it steady. And I'm losing a couple pounds a week, maybe 3 pounds a week. So when you increase your metabolism, you don't have those PUFAs that bond your thyroid split on fat loss. You can eat a lot more than you think, for sure. Does that make sense?
What do you think about creatine and other daily supplements?
What other supplements?
Just like daily vitamins, stuff like that.
Yep, creatine's a popular topic. So the thing about creatine is it is typically derived from cyanide. You can look this up. Now cyanide, do you know what they give the spies when they have to commit suicide, they're about to get tortured? Bingo, cyanide. So typically, ingesting something with cyanide, derived from cyanide, many of these vitamins are actually not derived from, say, cyanide, and maybe a lot of vitamin C is derived from mold, and then it has an inflammatory effect in your muscle where then your muscle actually increases water retention as a anaphylactic response. So creatine's great, but it's a different compound when you supplement with it chemically than creatine within meat. If you have creatine within meat, very helpful. When you have a proper functioning metabolism, there's you have CO2 buildup. CO2 is released from a proper functioning metabolism where you're burning carbohydrates. That helps have enough creatine phosphate within the muscle and enough ATP. So many clients I have, many of these guys who play college, NFL, stopped creatine. We increased carbs, we increased salt. They felt even better, they got even stronger. Because that water feeling in the muscle, we just replaced that with actual carbohydrates and salt and electrolytes. Now, something people ask me all the time about is electrolytes. Right, that's a supplement, common supplement. Now, many of these electrolytes have so many dang additives, right? It's got whatever, disodium, potassium, phosphate, or all these crazy things, right? There's four electrolytes. I'd write these down so you don't get swindled when you're at the store, okay? There's 4. We've got, anyone want to guess at this? Sodium is 1. Magnesium is a second. We got 2 more. Somebody said it. Potassium. We got sodium. We got magnesium. We got potassium. What else? This is an interesting one. It's the reason why milk's more hydrating than water. Calcium. Those are your 4 electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. What the cool thing is about electrolytes, and why you don't always need to buy a powder, is if you have orange juice, magnesium, potassium, coffee, magnesium, great source of magnesium, milk, calcium, Greek yogurt, cheese, and then you add salt onto your food, probably at least a gram of salt, which is less than a gram of sodium, but you're sweating a lot, you can have a lot of salt, actually help reduce water retention. But you can have all of those, you see how you can hydrate yourself without buying a supplement that typically has citric acid that's derived from mold, aspergillus, which is going to give you an inflammatory response, which you don't want. You want your joints feeling good. You don't want to be hurt. Other supplements, right? Fish oil. This is a huge one that I have. Again, I let any client I work with, they do what they want. I just give them the advice, or I give them really the information that I understand. You make your own decision. Fish oil is a polyunsaturated fat. It's very, very inflammatory. When babies are born, they are deficient technically in fish oil. It was determined to be an essential fatty acid from really a false study back when it was actually a B6 deficiency and zinc deficiency. So I would recommend not taking fish oil. Aside from that, you want to be careful of what your supplements are bound with. I like a lot of times liquid supplements better than capsules. They don't have all of this, when you look at a capsule, right? You throw it back every day, oh wait, I'm swallowing plastic. If it is plastic, some of them are. So I think it's really being cautious of your vitamins and minerals. What vitamins would be good? What maybe would be helpful, right? Vitamin D and EVU, extra virgin olive oil, that's a good one. That's a solid one if you're not getting enough sunlight. Up here in northern latitudes, really now until like September, we're getting enough UV to create vitamin D. And for the darker skin you have, the even harder it is to create vitamin D. So that's something to be really cautious of. If you're getting blood work, we'll talk about that later. Vitamin K, that's another one that's very helpful. Supplement with vitamin K, specifically MK4 or 7, I like MK4. Collagen peptides, that's another good one. I use Great Lakes peptides. I have no affiliations with any of these, but that's a good one. I like Great Lakes. Aside from that, vitamin B1, that'll help you in school. That helps treat chronic fatigue syndrome, CFS. So if you're constantly tired in the morning, I would recommend upping some vitamin B1. That's also in liver. Another great supplement would be beef liver, 3 ounces a week. And oysters, a dozen or 1 can a week. That'll give you your copper, vitamin A, all of that. If you have acne, highly recommend having beef liver. It has something called retinol, which they sell you for $60 in a bottle at whatever skincare store. You can just get that from 3 ounces of liver, a lot cheaper.
You said peptides and supplements. You would suggest taking peptides?
Collagen peptides is what I was mentioning. So collagen is derived from the joints, ligaments of animals. And it's very helpful because it has a different amino acid profile than a lot of the meat. It's 20 amino acids. Most of the meat, when you just eat high amounts of muscle meat, think about ancient times, they actually had different cuts of meat that they would eat, a lot of gelatinous. They'd have bone marrows, they'd have the ligaments, they'd have different stews. and definitely the organs. If you're a hunter, you're familiar with eating the organs, so that's very important. Peptides in general, most of these are banned now by NCAA. So you probably heard of BPC 157 for recovery, TB 500 for recovery. You need to be very careful of these peptides. Okay, most of these also are being shipped from labs. Somebody might try to tell you, oh, this is good, it's safe for drug testing, but many of these are made in labs that don't clean the vats. So it might be considered safe, might be considered good, but all these come from China, and they don't clean the vats in between making these powders, so then that you could have a little bit of something that would knock you off for a test. So definitely be cautious of that. Anything else?
I know like groceries are expensive. Like, what are like cheap alternatives to like get like good macros and stuff like that?
Yeah, a cheap grocery list. This is good. I would write this one down. Okay, starches. We're gonna do jasmine rice and russet potatoes. Get as big bags as you can. Call that economy of scale, whatever that. I'm not a business expert, but buy it more, you get it cheaper. Put in a container. Rice and potatoes. From there, another carbohydrate that I think would be great, bananas are very cheap. Some local honey. Big fan of both of those. Raisins are also great too. They're a great snack for school. You can just sneak in some freaking raisins. They have boron that's gonna help increase your testosterone as well. Raisins are pretty cheap. For protein, milk. Man, milk is freaking huge. Massive for you. I'd be having a lot. I have probably half a gallon a day. Negative. No, definitely. Almonds don't have milk. They're washed with water and have a lot of pesticides and different added oils to make them taste like milk. Would not recommend it. If you're milk intolerant, you want to start out adding that back in slow, maybe 2 ounces per meal. I used to be lactose intolerant. Add it back in very slowly. If it's really a struggle digesting milk, high likelihood you could have a thyroid issue or SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Okay, carbohydrates are good. Milk, eggs, you can get those in bulk. Again, try to go local. Try to get from a farm. Try to get somewhere local. I like white fish. I think flounder is great. Flounder is very cheap. It's probably the cheapest white fish. You can also get chicken breast and top round steak. Who's knows? Those are some good proteins. And then some fats, top round, yes. Some fats could be, you cook your eggs in butter. I'm a grill guy, so I like to grill my meats. But if you're searing it, maybe some beef tallow or coconut oil. Coconut oil is great. For vegetables, you might be like, Jack, you haven't mentioned vegetables once. That's correct. A good vegetable to add in would be carrots. Raw carrots are antimicrobial. They're gonna help improve digestion. They're also gonna reduce estrogen. Estrogen binds to your liver, okay? Slows down the production of thyroid hormone, okay? And by having carrots, you can also reduce, maybe some of you guys have a little bit too much fat than you prefer around the nipples, around the waist. Many times that's estrogen dominance. Having some carrots can really help with that. Also, another cheap vegetable would be mushrooms. You can boil those for a couple hours. They'll help you with digestion a lot. And then well-cooked steamed vegetables are also really good. Question over here? No? Anyone else? Yes.
Now, I know most of us here are probably not of age quite yet, but just talking a bit about alcohol and maybe how that coincides with the rest of your digestive system and what the cons and pros of maybe not pros.
Alcohol. All right. So, how to take an angle on this? Wait until, it's a family decision or personal decision. Now, digestion, it can impact digestion for sure. What it's gonna do is it's gonna slow down the liver. And the liver is really what's gonna help a lot of digestion. It's also gonna impact the gallbladder. The gallbladder creates bile, which is gonna actually help create and break down fat. Okay? Alcohol can cause some issues with skin, I typically help people with kind of how to game plan around alcohol. You know, you guys aren't at that point, but I would say, you know, in college, it's important to be responsible. It's important to understand and know your friends. I think many of us older adults have been in situations where you're supposed to get a ride, and then the guy who's supposed to give you a ride, you see him taking shots or drinking or smoking something. You're like, wait a second. If I get in this car, this might, I don't know if this is going to be too safe. So having discernment about your decisions is really important. Who you surround yourself with in college, how to avoid getting in bad situations, okay, is being really mindful of who you spend your time with. Really, really mindful of that. You know, alcohol is part of life, but that's something you'll come to later on, or maybe not. Either way, that's about it. Anyone got any other questions? Detoxing from alcohol. Fructose is really helpful for the parents. Fructose, so having fruit and or some type of sugar around alcohol, really helpful if you're having alcohol. Probably want to have lower fat intake when you're having alcohol. Having charcoal, activated charcoal, can help a lot for detoxing, along with taurine, along with tudka, milk thistle. Those would be some advice for the parents who have maybe a glass of wine. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Jack, appreciate you, man. We're gonna have chicken nuggets over there, so sorry. I know you guys are smelling the food here. We got one more. Thomas, founder of Lineman Problems, he's gonna